Okay. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 40, the Prayers of Akrura. Text 6 through 10. Text 6. Eke tvakila kadmani sanyasya pasmam gataha gyani no gyana yagnena yajanti jana vigraham. Translation by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. In pursuit of spiritual knowledge, some persons renounce all material activities and having thus become peaceful, perform the sacrifice of philosophic investigation to worship you, the original form of all knowledge. So those renounced persons worship Krishna by engaging in philosophic investigation, but it's done as an act of worship in Krishna. Purport: modern philosophers pursue knowledge without bothering to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus they naturally end up with meager, if not trivial, results. Text 7. And yet others, those whose intelligence is pure, follow the injunctions of Vaishnava scriptures promulgated by you, absorbing their minds in thought of you. They worship you as one Supreme Lord, manifesting in multiple forms. So we're going up the ladder. First, we have philosophical investigation, speculation. Then we have worship in Krishna in various forms, manifesting in multiple forms. Purport: the word Samskrita manaha, that they whose intelligence is pure, is significant here. It implies that the worshippers mentioned before have not completely purified their intelligence of material contamination and thus worship the Lord indirectly by philosophical investigation. But those who are purified, however, directly worship the Lord, either as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, or as one of his various plenary forms, such as Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, as indicated here. Those are Vishnu forms, as far as I understand. Text 8. Translation: there are still others who worship you, the Supreme Lord, in the form of Lord Shiva. They follow the path described by him, Shiva, and interpret it in various ways to many teachers. Purport: the word Tvam Eva, you also, indicate that the path of worshiping Lord Shiva is indirect and therefore inferior. Akrura himself is following the superior method by directly worshiping Krishna or Vishnu with his prayers. Text 9. But all these people, Akrura says, my Lord, even those who have turned their attention away from you and are worshiping other deities, are actually worshiping you alone, or embodiment of all the demigods. Purport: the idea is that even those who worship the demigods are indirectly worshiping the Supreme Lord Vishnu. That's the idea. The understanding of such worshippers, however, is imperfect. In other words, when we're listening to a mundane love song, it's actually about Krishna, but the singer's understanding is imperfect, and we should correct them. Okay, text 10. As rivers born from the mountains and filled by the rain, flow from all sides into the sea. As the rivers born from the mountains and filled by the rain flow from all sides into the sea, so do all these paths. In the end, reach you, O Master. Purport. Lord Krishna himself speaks of this issue of worship in the Bhagavad Gita 9:23 through 25. Translation. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, Arjuna. But they do so in a wrong way. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. End of the purport. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yenai Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master is opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him again and again and again. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Putale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, we have entered this dimension of Srimad Bhagavatam. I can't yell at Dipusha, I'm sorry. I'm here in the apartment. Everybody's resting. I can lean closer to the camera. So, yeah, we have entered the dimension of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a wonderful dimension. And every time I've observed, every time we carefully read the verses and the purports, and every time we carefully recite the invocation mantras, the door to this other direction is open. And then all our difficulties and troubles, they just vanish and cease temporarily, for the time of class at least. And so we are in this realm where Krishna is being glorified, where everybody is serving Krishna directly or indirectly. We should understand that Krishna is the ultimate ocean, and we're all rivers rolling into the ocean. There's a wonderful verse in the Bhagavatam. Maybe Krishnadaya Prabhu can help me with the verse. It's a prayer that Radhanath Maharaj he used in his book Journey Home. It's the first shloka that appears in the book. It says, "Let my mind flow into you like a river," something like that. That's the shloka. Maybe Krishnadaya Prabhu could look that up.
You want me to read that?
Queen Kunti is speaking.
Yeah, Queen Kunti's prayer. Yeah, let's discuss that shloka.
It's 1:8:42. It's 1:8:42. Tvai me ananyaya vishaya matir madhupate sakrit pratimutva hata tatha gange vaghamudanvati. Translation: O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you, without being diverted to anyone else.
Beautiful. Would you like to speak on that, or maybe read the purport? Krishnadaya Prabhu. Community class today. Please save the day.
Sure. Maybe we'll start reading the purport. Purport. Vishwala Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Perfection of pure devotional service is attained when all attention is diverted towards the transcendental loving service of the Lord. To cut off the tie of all other affections does not mean complete negation of the finer elements like affection for someone else. This is not possible. A living being, whoever he may be, must have this feeling of affection for others because this is a symptom of life. The symptoms of life, such as desire, anger, hankerings, feelings of attraction, etc., cannot be annihilated. The only objective has to be changed. Desire cannot be negated, but in devotional service, desire is changed only for the service of the Lord in place of desire for sense gratification. The so-called affection for family, society, country, etc. consists of different phases of sense gratification. When the desire is changed for the satisfaction of the Lord, it is called devotional service. Two more paragraphs are there, Prabhu. You want me to read or?
You can start reflecting, Krishna Prabhu. It's such a wonderful topic.
Yeah. So it's connecting that the most important thing is like they're saying that it's not that living beings are also sentient. Lord is also sentient. Living beings are also sentient. They have feelings, So the perfection, like Akrura is going step by step, speculation, worshipping Anya Devatas. But all those things indirectly they are doing Krishna, worshipping Krishna only. So in a way, if there's indirectly doing worship of Krishna, why not do it directly? So when if it is doing indirectly, then it is on the path of sense gratification. But if it's being done directly towards Krishna, that is elevating or not entangling. So that's what is telling. It's called devotional service, and it's directly done. So Prabhupada also says that the attitude or the tendency of service is inherent in the soul. Either we serve our nation, we serve our spouse, family, we dedicate ourselves to something. If nobody is there in our life, we serve our puppy or the dog whom we hire. So the nature of service cannot be removed from the soul. Or we serve our ideals, thisism, thatism. So better direct that towards Krishna and his devotees. So then that will be leading us to disentanglement. Sayeva sadhusukrushu mokshadvaram pavrutam. So when that service is directed towards, the sadhus or Krishna, so then, it will lead us to disentanglement. Yeah.
Yeah, being a servant is that's our identity. Whether you're choosing to serve Krishna or choosing to serve other things, you are serving. So why not serve the source of everything? Why not serve the person that will give us ultimate satisfaction? Anybody else would like to reflect on serving other things and what that?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
The complexity described by Akrura makes it seem difficult. We can get lost like in a labyrinth and you don't know which way to go or even which way is better. And the situation is like that. But the labyrinth has been designed by Krishna. And Krishna is concerned for us. Krishna cares about us. And Krishna has arranged that even the most misdirected person is given learning experiences and gradually or quickly can come to the right path and the right goal. Krishna is so wonderful that he's not leaving us lost in this morass, in this very complicated and difficult situation. And then the question comes up, well, how do we get the right answer and avoid all these difficulties and sidetracks and obstacles? And therefore, Krishna explains, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, that we have the freedom, we have the choice, we have the responsibility to desire the best thing. Even if we don't know what the best thing is, we can say, Lord, I want the best. I want to do the right thing. And then Krishna will reciprocate with that. But if we don't have that desire, if we desire something less, then that's what we get. Apohanam cha. Then we get to be bewildered and distracted and misdirected. So it's consoling to know that as complex as the situation is, that there's Krishna who loves us and is watching us and is ready to help us to do the good thing, right? Isn't that consoling?
Yeah, it's very consoling to know that we are serving along with other devotees, and we're going through our hardships and difficulties together with the members of the community that we're serving in. That is what
Krishna
that is the most tangible way that we can sense Krishna's participation in our life, through the kindness of his devotees.
Right. Very good.
Through the joy of devotional service. Doing things together is fun. Serving Krishna together is fun.
And pleasing to Krishna.
Yeah.
In this world, especially now, we see these wars, hatred, right? So much violence that people are engaging in unnecessarily. But there's another world. There's another dimension of existence where there's harmony, where there's love, where there's actually, like you say, joy, and Krishna, and that is the spiritual dimension that we can step into at any time. And Krishna will welcome us. He wants us to get there. And the process is surrender to Krishna. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. There's a passage in the Bible where Jesus is across the lake with his disciples, and there's this madman running around naked. And he's so crazy that sometimes the villagers would chain him up and he would break the chains. And he was running around in the cemetery. And he'd been like that for a long time. He was so dirty and so wild and so crazy and so deep in darkness that he was just like below the level of an animal. But then when he saw the Lord, when he saw Jesus, he just said, Lord. And Jesus reciprocated with the fact that he turned to him, and he understood that person was infested with a legion of demons, that he was haunted. He needed exorcism. And Jesus cast out all these demons that were in this person's body, and they went into a herd of pigs, and the pigs went running and jumping off a cliff into the lake. And then the man became gentle. He came out of dark just like that, from the deepest level of madness and darkness and insanity. He was lifted up by turning to the Lord with one syllable, Lord, Lord. And Madan Gopal gave this incredible class recently where he said, if any time in our life, even casually, we say, Lord, I'm yours, Krishna will hear that, and he'll bring us from wherever we are to the highest level. We just have to say that, Lord, I want to please you. I'm yours. And then the Supreme Lord will reciprocate with that and help us. So cool, eh? Why not?
It's very cool. It's very cool.
How wonderful is Krishna.
How wonderful is Krishna.
All right, cool.
There's this verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam where it says, it's the Wretched Fellow verse. You know the verse, the Wretched Fellow?
What does it say?
The Wretched Fellow verse. I'm trying to look it up.
The Wretched Fellow.
Yeah. Do you not know that verse? Krishna says, if I favor somebody, I gradually take away.
Mixamano, that one?
No, not that one. That's Tatyana Kampam Susamikshimana. That's different. The Wretched Fellow verse is where Krishna says, if I favor somebody, I gradually I take away stuff from them gradually. What? Okay. So Krishna took away our speaker today. I guess that's a sign that Krishna favors us. Our class. Yeah. So whether Krishna is taken, and my biggest fear growing up before Krishna consciousness was this loneliness, that I'll be lonely somewhere on the hospital bed, dying alone. That was my biggest fear. But then I came to Krishna consciousness. I met so many wonderful devotees, and I understood that, when I'm in trouble, then the devotees will come and feed me prasadam. They will chant kirtan for me, and I will depart, swiftly. So that's the biggest fear that I had is now taken care of. Jeffrey Prabhu, will you come and chant for me when I need it?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yasyaham Anugranami. Is that the verse?
The Wretched Fellow?
Harishe Tadanam Sanai Tato Danam. When I feel especially merciful towards someone, I gradually take away all his material possessions. His friends and relatives then reject this poverty-stricken and most wretched fellow.
Yeah.
But I wanted to comment on what Adi was saying about the story from Mark 5, because it's so wonderful that this crazed man is relieved of the madness. But then what Jesus says to him is so beautiful, because he wants to go with Jesus then, right? He wants to go with him. And Jesus says, no, go back home and tell them what the Lord has done for you. And that is that association that we were talking about in that other verse. The affection for others is a symptom of life. The Lord has given us life, and then it's not take that life and just follow the Lord around. It's take that life and show affection for others by teaching them what the Lord has done and how wonderful the Lord is. I love that. That's beautiful. It's transformative, not just to you. It's to you and your community and everyone that you influence. It's like gravity. It pulls every weight down. Or it's like a rising tide. It lifts every boat up. Well, however you want to think of it. But it's a force to be reckoned with. Like the water coming down the mountain all flows to the sea. That water has no choice. And it has to go where it will go, wherever the rivulets move. If the stone ahead is too dense to be worn, then the water goes around it, but it eventually makes its way there. And the commandment from various representations of God that have spoken on God's behalf is to take that gift to others, not keep it for yourself. And that's beautiful. Thank you for this class. And thank you for bringing that story up, Adi. That was beautiful.
How wonderful is Krishna?
Yeah, Krishna liberates us. He lovingly, patiently, carefully, surgically detaches us from the things that aren't favorable, that aren't beneficial to us, because we once said, Krishna, I'm yours. Please. If you say that even casually, Kadipusha Prabhu says, then this verse will happen to you. Yasyaham anugrihanam, when I feel especially merciful. So that happened to Srila Prabhupada in his life. When he was preparing to share bhakti with the world, he was still in India, and his business was failing. His family relationship was failing. And Srila Prabhupada was meditating on this verse. He was Abhay at that time. Abhay shuddered as he read the verse. Abhay freaked out. It seemed to speak directly to him. But what did it mean? Does it mean he thought that Krishna will take away all my money? He's already taken away some of his money. So is he going to take the rest? What was that? What was actually happening? Was that why his business plans were failing? He discussed the meaning of the verse with Sridhar Maharaj, the senior devotee. Yes, Sridhar Maharaj confirmed. This might very well be what was happening between Lord Krishna and Abhay. So that's between us and Krishna. When something is being taken away, and it's a loving relationship. Krishna will take away our craziness, our debts, everything will be taken care of gradually. And we should be rest assured that Krishna knows what he's doing. He doesn't do it recklessly. He does it in such a way that we can handle the heat, the pressure. Sometimes Krishna pressures us, but he gives us strength through the spiritual master, through the community, through the Shastra, through our connection to devotional service. Krishna gives us strength to handle the challenge, to handle the blessing, so to say. Jeffrey Prabhu.
Question though, we talk about this, we hear this, said it, that Krishna takes away or Krishna gives, and the one thing that I get caught up in my head about is when we talk about Krishna gives or Krishna takes away, one of the things that I tend to forget is that I'm the tool that Krishna's going to use in some of those givings and taking goes away. So it's not that we sit back, relax while Krishna serves us and gives or takes away, right? And this is more of a question than a statement, but we are the tool that Krishna is going to use. For example, Krishna takes away our debts. You just said that, right? So in certain cases, we have to bust our butts on Krishna's behalf to get that debt to go away, right?
Exactly.
There.
Yeah,
like,
we are.
It's
we are
not that you sit back and Krishna's cleaning up the place and doing everything for you, right? It's you have to be humble enough to allow Krishna to use you to do things that are wonderful. Is that right? Am I right?
Of course. It's not that I'm validating your statement. It's the truth. We're not mere hamsters. We're not in the box, and Krishna is not giving us food and cleaning up for us. He gives us things so that we can use them in his service. He takes things away from us so that we can sober up and act. He did not fight the Kurukshetra war for Arjuna. He told them they're all dead already. Just fight. He didn't say they're all dead already. All these warriors, it's all taken care of. Therefore, you can retreat into the forest and do yoga and get yourself a pair of tight pants and renounce artificially. It didn't say that. He said, I took care of it, but go fight. Right? Krishna Das Prabhu, are we right?
Yeah, Krishna says, Mam Mara Yudhyacha. So, and then thinking of me, you fight. Nimitta matram bhava sabhyasach. So just become an instrument. Nimitta matra. So everything is taken care by me. So rightly pointed out by Jeffrey Prabhu. Yeah. And then actually, Bhima Prabhu also said, I guess Bhima Prabhu, so we should be humble enough to allow Krishna act through us. We should be humble enough to become the instrument of the Lord. Sometimes our own priorities stop Krishna doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not hamsters, we're tools. We're all in the same toolbox. Bhima Prabhu is a hammer. No, he's a rake. What are you? What kind of tool are you? You seem to be shoveling a lot lately.
I'm here to clean up. When I see horse manure, I move it to its proper place, no matter what form it takes. And yes, we are hamsters, Prabhu, and we're in our habit trail of conditioning. We have certain tubes we run down, and we just love male and female hamsters, and we make lots of little baby hamsters, and we live in our habit trail world of conditioning. I remember just on this thing about Krishna taking away, one of the first lessons I learned, it was actually pretty frightening. I remember it, of course, to this day, is when I was not even a bhakta, I was with Maharaj when he had given a cooking class, and he was, I was helping him, and he had a van called they called it the Vrindavan, Vrindavan. They had lacquered, the inside was paneled with wood, and then on the wood were lacquered beautiful pictures of Krishna Radharani. And then on the ceiling, like in the Sistine Chapel in this van, was Damodar, was that picture of Krishna with his finger to his mouth and the butter pot broken next to him, and he's staring out. He had early black hair. This is probably a very dear picture to her, a dear painting to her. So it's Krishna staring straight out at the observer of the painting. Krishna staring straight out as a baby boy with the broken butter pot. And I'm looking at it. Now, of course, I have no idea who Krishna is. I'm just like, and who's this blue baby on the ceiling? And I asked Radhanath while he was driving, and he goes, that's Damodar. And I said, who is he? And he goes, that's Krishna. And I said, well, what's with the butter? And he goes, he's just stolen that butter. Krishna is a butter thief. And I was trying to figure it out. And he goes, and then there was silence. And he turns to me, looks me right in the eyes, Maharaj, and he says, you better be careful, or Krishna might steal everything you've got. And I grew fearful, because I was a college student who was very much engaged in, plans for the future. I was an athlete, so to speak, at the time, and very much engaged in the body. I remember Maharaj used to, at the meals that he would give at the temple, when it was just him and I and maybe a devotee or two, not the temple, at the preaching center bungalow. It was a bungalow in Athens, Ohio, back in 1980. He would do the Sarira Vijaya prayers. This body is a lump of material ignorance. And he'd always look over at me, who was very much engaged. I was a pre-med major in nutrition and in exercise physiology. And he would look over at me, and he would say, this body is a lump of material ignorance with a network of path heading towards death. And he always used to do that, and it always used to send fear through me, like Krishna's coming to get what I got. And I would have to say it was 40 years of hard knocks before I sort of like started to say, Krishna, whatever you want to do, just take it. I'm 60 now. Most of it's gone anyways, so we're like, that's the main thing. Like Krishna will give us everything. We just got to let go. We just got to let go and stop thinking that it's ours. Even our health, even tomorrow, we have to let go of tomorrow, our plans. And then Krishna makes all arrangements, when, as Adi Purush says, Krishna, I'm yours. That's a day-to-day thing. Like, you say, Krishna, I don't know what you got planned for me today, but whatever it is, make sure that I'm ready. Please help me to serve the devotees. We don't even pray to serve Krishna. It's very easy to serve the devotees. Serving Krishna is a very hard thing because we never know whether what we're doing is pleasing, but we certainly know when we're pleasing the devotees because they smile and they say nice things to you and give you back with their love and affection and their intimacy. They give you back everything that you thought you gave away in this world. You get it all back in the association of devotees. So I just like to say that was one of my first lessons, was that I was warned that Krishna will come, and I fought it for 40 years. That Krishna wants everything from you, and every day we should try to see, what is it that I'm holding on to? What am I fearful? The feeling of anxiety or fear is the signpost that we're still hanging on to something. If you have a little bit of anxiety, then just concentrate on that anxiety and see that we're still attached. That's the only reason why we're anxious. So anyways, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. It reminded me of Vaisheshika Prabhu's concept of preemptive giving. First of all, it's not yours. The only real asset that we have is our attention. So that's what Krishna wants. Our bodies are rental. It's all temporary. We don't own any money, any property, really. It's not ours. But what we do have the ownership of is our attention. And Vaisheshika Prabhu says, where attention goes, energy flows. So if we focus our attention on Krishna and devotional service, on the books, then that will become full of energy. That will be our life. And Vaisheshika Prabhu says, the preemptive giving, give it while you're still in possession of it, while you still have your faculties. We discussed in class a few weeks ago how we should offer our faculties to Krishna. So while you still have intelligence, while you still have resources, strength, whatever you have, whatever you've been given, use that in the service of Krishna, of the Lord. Preemptive giving. Don't wait until it's taken away from you, which it will. Give it preemptively. Preemptive giving by Vaisheshika Prabhu. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu, for bringing that up. Krishnadaya Prabhu, Adipusha Prabhu, Jeffrey Eckler Prabhu. Any reflections on that?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Vaisheshika Prabhu tells that story. Two guys are on the street in New York and someone comes with a gun, says, give me everything you have. You know that?
No.
Never heard that? He says, two people stand there and a guy comes and goes, all right, give me everything you've got. So one guy says to the other guy, okay, I'm going to give it to you. Just a minute. You know that $20 I owe you? Here it is. But you mentioned before about loneliness. And Hari Prasad gave this amazing class about loneliness. And he said, actually, we're never really alone. We might be alone with Krishna. Krishna might make an arrangement that we're alone with him because he never leaves us. So that's an interesting way to look at it, that I'm not alone, but I might be alone with Krishna because he wants our attention. When there's nobody else around to turn to, then we turn to him and it's complete. Just one little side thought. I'll go to Sri Prabhupada.
Thank you, Adipusha. Yeah, when we are with Krishna and the devotees, we feel complete. Krishna Prabhu, how do you feel complete?
When we are with the devotees of Krishna, that's the best way we feel it, because serving Krishna directly, so we may not. Yeah. So one point I was trying to reflect, like you said that Krishna will give us will not be broken down, something like that. Sometimes we see in some tests, apparently people fail and then they go a little bit far from Krishna. So then I was just thinking, what about that? Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was going to South India, his personal associate got distracted from him, and then so he got caught up. And then after that, when he came back, Mahaprabhu came back to Bengal. He said that, look, you people gave me an assistant who is easily distracted from my service. So Mahaprabhu practically left him. Sorry, I don't want to see him again. But devotees were always with him. Devotees took compassion, said, don't worry, we are there with you. And then he was given another service. So, and then, so even though Mahaprabhu apparently left him, but devotees always took care of him. So we feel that particular shelter when we are with devotees. And then, of course, that capacity to give shelter, by the devotees. So that also comes from Lord himself, or, remembrance of the Lord. So sometimes Lord directly protects and sometimes Lord indirectly protects. So it's a little bit deep, but Lord always protects. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, wonderful point. Wonderful question. How do we understand distraction? What do we do when we get distracted from devotional service? I know Indradumna Maharaj, there was one devotee that was he was struggling in his devotional service. He wasn't inspired. He was discouraged. He had been mistreated in some way. I don't know the details, but he was on the verge of stopping chanting. So Indradumna Maharaj, and he shared with his Guru Maharaj his situation, and Indradumna Maharaj immediately invited him to travel with him. So come travel with me, and we'll see how it's. So, the beauty of this culture, the culture of bhakti that Srila Prabhupada gave us, is that whenever we find ourselves in difficulty, the devotees will reach out to us. The devotees will reach out to us. So we're never alone. Like you said, the community gave this a distracted devotee different service to keep him engaged in bhakti positively. So the devotees are there. That's the beauty and the mercy of Krishna, that the devotees will proactively reach out to you when you need it. So if you see somebody who's getting distracted, do not judge. Immediately reach out and be there for them. Make them clean the bathroom in the temple. Bhima Prabhu?
I heard a story just the other day. I'll try to condense it very quickly. Golden Gate Bridge, which has been known as the place where people commit suicide. There was this detective who would have to find out whether these suicides, it was his job to find out whether these suicides were actual suicides and not the result of criminal action. And he would have to do reverse detective work. They would find out who the person was, and then they would retrace steps. And he said he saw hundreds. He became very jaded over the years, hundreds and hundreds of suicides over the decades. And he said he was one time very much moved and disturbed when he retraced the steps of one of the suicides. And he went back to, they found the identification of the person, and then they found where he lived and went to the apartment. And when they entered the apartment, they saw a note on the desk. And he said that was even not a surprise. Of course, he's seen hundreds of suicide notes left behind. But he said he read this note, and it said simply, "I am on my way to the bridge. If just one person says hello to me on my way, I will turn around and come home." And so, of course, he made it to the bridge without one person saying hello or greeting him. So the understanding there is that we may be just one person in this world, just one infinitesimal person in this world, but we can be the world to one person if we simply reach out at the right time. And devotees do this all the time. Reach out and try to just connect with somebody on that deep level, whether it be a devotee or somebody just walking on the street, and give them a chance to spend some time with the devotees, or be reminded that they are actually loved, that we actually care for them because Krishna cares for them. That, even though we feel in the void of material world, like one person amongst, billions, and it doesn't matter, that we as one person can become the world, can save a person from a great despair. And that was Prabhupada's mission. And he sort of handed that down to all of us. That at any moment, just by saying hello or greeting someone or opening our heart or listening, most importantly, listening, not so much preaching, but listening, that we can become the world to that one person. So I just was reminded of that when you mentioned what you said.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah, be the love tool of love. Krishna. A darshan time. Thank you. We need one more camera on to feel complete, please. One devotee. One more.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, Krishna. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We made it. Gail, good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right, with this, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for sticking to the process of bhakti, of glorifying Krishna together every day, no matter what. Krishna may take away the speaker. Krishna can do anything. But that's the beauty of our relationship with him. He has the freedom to use us as his tools. And we want to be the tool that channels Krishna's love in the life of other people. So let's go out into the world on this Thursday morning and hammer Krishna's love into everyone's heart.
Prabhu, can I just say that listening can also be a form of preaching?
What can be a form of preaching, Gail? I'm sorry.
Listening. Like
Listening.
Bhima Prabhu was saying, sometimes we shouldn't preach, we should just listen. But if we expand our concept of preaching, listening can be also a form of preaching.
Absolutely. Yeah, you give that person your attention.
Yes.
You're accommodating their worries and troubles. And then you give them prasadam or say just a few words, or just with your example, there will be preaching, even if you breathe. And that's preaching if you're a devotee.
Yeah, that connecting somehow or other on a heart level with somebody, somehow or other.
True, true.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gail. Wonderful contribution. All right, Hare Krishna, thank you for connecting with us. See you again tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll have the speaker. All right. Thank you so much for contributing. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.